We don't have to agree on everything to agree it's time to do something. Real and lasting change also requires Congress to do its part and to do it soon, not to wait. The good news is that we're starting to see a consensus emerge about the action Congress needs to take.
That was the president today. He took the show on the road pushing for new gun legislation, and he was in the Twin Cities today. Now, the president, he traveled to Minneapolis in part because of the city's push to try and stem gun violence there, putting in place new safety measures, including stricter background checks. Additionally, he nominated the U.S. Attorney from Minnesota, Todd Jones, to lead the ATF. That's a position that's been unfilled for a long time. Meanwhile, Wayne LaPierre of the NRA, he's been caught contradicting his own words in a new ad from the Mayors Against Illegal Guns, which Mayor Bloomberg is one of, if not just the leading voices, also the leading funders behind. It was a commercial that aired in certain places during the Super Bowl, not in our neck of the woods, but in D.C. NRA was forced, if you watch this spot, to eat its own words. Take a look.
The NRA once supported background checks.
We think it's reasonable to provide mandatory instant criminal background checks for every sale at every gun show. No loopholes anywhere for anyone.
America can do this. For us. Please.
Okay, now that was Wayne LaPierre then. The now NRA chief has something different to say, and he attempted to explain the flip-flop on Fox News this past Sunday.
We've been fighting for 20 years to get the records computerized, and I know what goes on behind the scenes in this town. They won't do it. The mental health lobby won't do it. The HIPAA laws won't do it. It's not going to, I wish it would happen. We're all for it, but it's not.
Now you're for a universal background check.
It's a fraud to call it universal. It's never going to be universal. The criminals aren't going to comply with it. They could care less. You're not going to computerize, you've already seen you're not going to computerize the mental health records. So here's what's going to happen. We ought to quit calling it right now a universal check. The real title ought to be the check on law-abiding people all over this country.
Okay. In fact, it goes on to basically say in that interview that you do this, the next thing is they're going to basically give them a roadmap to take legal gun owners' guns away, the whole gun grabber argument. Nobody at this table is a champion of Wayne LaPierre. I'm not going to waste a lot of time getting into it. But here's my only thing. It's been now more than a month, and if you look at the numbers and you look at the, when I say the numbers, not just the polls, but where Washington is right now, the fact that this is still a fight, and this is the only voice on the right, and that the right has permitted, and gun owners have permitted this clown to be their voice, Bill. And yet it doesn't seem to be moving the dial in Washington, surprises me, because there's a lot of rational arguments gun owners could say and stake out some ground here that isn't as far as what the president wants, but the only guy doing the talking is LaPierre, who not only flip-flops, but is saying the most insensitive, irrational, and aggressive stuff here that nobody agrees with. Seemingly his own membership, three-quarters, disagree with him on the background issue. But yet, he's allowed to be the voice, and you know what? It seems, if not to be working, at least not to be hurting him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the president is right. He said today that we don't all have to agree on everything here, but we can agree on background checks, on universal background checks. We can agree on a lot of things. I think we can agree on clips, on a whole number of issues. The trouble in this country today on this and other issues is that you have organizations defining the debate as either us or them, and there's no in between. There's no nuance left to debate. I agree with you. I think Republicans should be speaking out where they have a problem. If they support a background check, a universal background check, talk about it. You got to challenge these guys.
Doesn't LaPierre provide, though, a certain amount of cover for conservatives or for Republicans who might otherwise be put on the spot with this? They don't have to speak up as long as he is, and since he's being so outlandish, they can seem measured and reasonable by comparison?
But they're not even saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent. I mean, nobody wants to go out on it and be the one to get clobbered. But that's what leadership is. You have to go out there and get clobbered once in a while.
Where is that leadership coming from, on the Republican side?
No, I'm saying there's not enough people stepping forward to do it.
Is there one?
I'm sure there are.
Let's figure it out.
I'm sure there are. Where are they on the Democratic side? mean, you have some people out there, but you had Chuck Schumer 3 years ago saying, pull the gun issue off the table to the president. We're not going after guns. That's why he did nothing in that first session.
You were doing very well there for a while.
No.
Richard.
It's both
Look at
parties,
Harry
Richard.
Reid, the Senate Majority Leader. If it was up to him, he'd pull the assault weapons ban out of the whole thing completely.
There are Democrats and Republicans who have varying positions. The difference is that diversity is on display in the Democratic Party. There are people I agree with and the people I don't. The question I put to Bill was, where is the diversity of opinion in the Republican Party?
I'll give you one. Congressman Bob Turner opposed reciprocity, allowing carry permits, forcing New York State to honor carry permits from other states. Bob spoke out on that. He got beaten up for it.
Anymore.
He's not, but that wasn't the issue.
He lost the primary the last time I checked.
But he went out there and he said it, and he paid the price for it on it. But he said it. There are voices out there that'll do it.
Dominic, I've given him trying to figure out how this thing's going to end here, and also where the president is going to be putting his political capital in this particular issue. It seems that he wants the background checks, he wants the clips, but he'll probably give up on the assault weapon ban. It doesn't seem like they'll fight the fight, but if they lose it, they don't believe it's the end of the world. And there's enough voices, even look at Ray Kelly for crying out loud. He was saying, don't focus so much on the assault weapons, focus on the clips here. Do you figure out where the end game is here for the president?
Great question. I'm not exactly sure, because a week ago I thought the end game was that the president was going to push as hard as he could for an assault weapons ban. I understand why they released that photo of the president taking the skeet shoot.
Glad you do. It doesn't make any sense to me.
But I don't understand a lot. It seems like it hurts his argument. I know that he's trying to play to the other side to say, I'm not as out there as you think I am. But I don't know. A week ago, I would have definitely said, despite others that said there wouldn't be an assault weapons ban, I believe that there would be. But now I'm just not so sure.
I still don't see how you get anything through the House.
Or the Senate. Or the Senate. I don't know if you get an assault weapons ban through the Senate.
Senate's far more likely, but even if you get something passed through the Senate, I don't see how it escapes the House.
But I think, Dominic, you're talking about the president maybe backing off a little bit there. There's a reason for that. You pay a political price, whether in either party you pay it, when you go after guns. They're enormously popular in the country.
Is there a calculation, though, where there is a tipping point for Republicans where, listen, to be vocally anti-gay rights, okay, used to be okay in a primary, and you didn't have to say anything. Now, there's a political negative if you do it in certain Republican districts, certain districts in this country.
Right.
Is there a point on guns where, again, if 3/4 of the NRA members, let alone the vast majority of almost every district, supports the idea of background checks, universal background checks, that if a candidate comes out lockstep in opposition to it, that they could actually pay a political price even in Republican circles? Is there on the horizon, is there a potential for that?
I mean, I think if there's not a tipping point now on the gun issue, when? I mean, if not now, when?
Never. For the Republicans who are dominating their primary process. We have the good fortune often to talk to thoughtful, intelligent Republicans who reflect a diversity of view and a reasonableness. That's not where your party is right now, and I think the problem we face as lawmakers or Americans or people with opinions is there's no way to bring you guys effectively into the vote on these things that is going to do anything other than what Andrew said.
I mean, a lot of this is regional and not political. A lot of it, if you look at Reid, I mean, Reid doesn't like these bills. He's from Nevada. I mean, a lot of it is regional. It's not just the political. I agree Republicans tend to support guns more.
I know we got a break. You got Newtown that everyone can put their arms around and understand. And then you got LaPierre with 2 clips flip-flopping, and it's still not enough here. That you can't shame it, and you can't even use the American consciousness to force something through. And it shows, once again, I'm naive and where I really thought this time it would be different. Maybe it will, but looking less and less likely. All right, coming up next, we got some regional political headlines for you, including news just coming across now. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey has formally denied the rumors swirling about him. We'll have more on that after this.